Retired amateurs painting for pleasure. Still lifes and landscapes, cloudy skies and country scenes. In Britain at least, this is the traditional view of watercolours. But a new show opening this week is asking us to think again.
With this exhibition at Tate Britain, we're hoping to transform people's assumptions about watercolour, to go beyond the association with topography, with British landscape, and to show how watercolourists have actually painted a broad range of different subjects.
These subjects include maps and miniatures from the Tudor period, documentation of the grim reality of war, and an overview of how the medium has evolved more recently. Part of watercolour's appeal to artists is that it's cheap, it's clean, and it's easy to get started. But this very accessibility has led to a lack of credibility in the art world. And many watercolour painters argue that just because it's easy to get started doesn't mean it's easy to master. Members of the Highgate Society Watercolour Group know just how difficult watercolour can be.
It has a life of its own, watercolour, and you can't push it around too much. You've got, in a sense, to let it dictate to you.
You can't always control it, so you get what they call happy accidents happening.
It has such enormous potential. You can go on doing watercolour all your life, and still learn.
Despite this enthusiasm, perhaps the greatest problem with watercolour is its image as a conservative, unadventurous art form. But there's plenty of work in this show which confounds expectation, like this painting by Edward Burrough, which isn't made up of wishy-washy waves of colour, but a surprising degree of exactitude. Abstract work also features in the exhibition, such as this piece by Rebecca Salter. She was inspired to paint in watercolour while training in Japan.
All the media in the East are water-based, and so they don't have the split between oil and water that we have, where oil is seen as perhaps more important than watercolour. You can stay working on a painting, whether it's oil or acrylic. You can cover things up, you can scrape things off, you can go back, you can have another go. You can unstretch it and stretch it back again and do all sorts of things to it. But with a watercolour, the minute you touch the paper, you're committed. This is a Japanese brush which has got a very fine point. For me, the Eastern tradition is really important because you learn to paint sort of physically as well as sort of intellectually.
Rebecca Salter's work is showing alongside paintings by artists who are better known for working in other media, such as Anish Kapoor and Tracy Emin.
I think artists return to watercolour because it's the ideal medium for working through ideas and concepts, or indeed it's an antidote really to the sophisticated technology which is often employed in creating contemporary works of art.
Perhaps it's the simplicity of watercolour which has meant that it's always been overshadowed by more muscular oil painting. And with just one exhibition, Tate Britain is unlikely to overturn this long-standing artistic hierarchy. What it might do instead is challenge the view of watercolour as conservative and boring, at least for the time being.